Deuteronomy 28 is a very important chapter. It is found in the Old Testament of the Bible. This chapter contains words spoken by Moses. He was the great leader of the Israelites. He spoke to them before they entered Canaan. Canaan was the land God promised them. These words were part of his final speeches. They carried great weight for the people. This chapter explains God's covenant with them. The main idea of Deuteronomy 28 is choices. It presents two clear paths for Israel. One path was obedience to God's commands. This path led to many good things. These good things are called blessings. The other path was disobedience. This path led to many bad things. These bad things are called curses. The choice between these paths was crucial. This chapter was vital for the Israelites. They were starting a new life. They would live in a new land. God wanted them to live well there. He wanted them to be his special people. So he gave them clear instructions. These instructions showed them how to live. They needed to understand God's ways. Their well-being depended on their listening. We will explore this chapter more deeply. We will look at the promised blessings. These show God's goodness and desire for his people. We will also look at the warned curses. These show the serious results of turning from God. Then we will think about its original meaning. And finally, why these ancient words still speak. They offer wisdom for us even today. It is a message about life with God. Let us first examine the blessings. These were the good things God promised. They would come if Israel listened carefully. If they obeyed all his commands, God's desire was for them to thrive. He wanted to pour out his goodness. These blessings covered every area of life. They showed God's generous nature. Obedience was the key to receiving them. God promised blessings in their daily lives. People would be blessed in the city. They would also be blessed in the country. Their children would be healthy and many. Their crops would grow abundantly in the fields. Their animals like cattle and sheep would multiply. There would be plenty of food for everyone. Their baskets and kneading bowls would be full. God's favor would rest upon their work. God also promised them victory and protection. He would guard them from their enemies. If foes came to attack them, God would fight. He would cause their enemies to be defeated. Israel would be safe under his care. They would not need to live in fear. God himself would be their strong defender. This security was a wonderful gift. It allowed them to build a peaceful society. Furthermore, God would make Israel distinct. He would establish them as his holy people. This was a special calling for them. All the peoples on earth would see this. They would recognize God's hand upon Israel. They would see that Israel belonged to the Lord. This would bring honor to God's name. Israel was meant to be a light, showing God's blessing to the whole world. Now we must consider the other side. The chapter also contains strong warnings. These are the curses for disobedience. They would happen if Israel did not listen, if they turned away from God's laws. These were not threats God wanted to fulfill. But he is a just God, and actions have results. Disobedience would break the covenant relationship. This would lead to severe hardship and sorrow. The curses often mirrored the blessings. Instead of health, there would be diseases. Terrible sicknesses would afflict the people. Instead of plenty of food, there would be famine. The skies might not give rain for crops. Problems would arise in the city. Troubles would also plague the countryside. Their children, crops, and animals would suffer. Life would become a struggle for survival. Israel was also warned about defeat. If they disobeyed, God would not protect them. Their enemies would gain power over them. They would be defeated in battle. Fear and panic would spread among them. They could even be taken from their land. They might be scattered among other nations. This was a dreadful prospect for them. Losing the promised land meant losing their identity. The chapter describes a life of great distress. There would be confusion and frustration. There would be no peace or rest. Their minds would be filled with anxiety. Their hearts would be heavy with despair. This section of Deuteronomy 28 is very somber. It paints a grim picture of life apart from God. It shows the painful outcome of broken trust. It served as a powerful deterrent against rebellion. These words were spoken at a specific time. Moses delivered this message long ago. The people of Israel stood at Jordan's edge. They were poised to enter the land of Canaan. This land was their long-awaited inheritance. Deuteronomy 28 was part of renewing their covenant. It was like a constitution for their new nation. God was establishing them as His kingdom people. They were to live by His rules, under His care. For the Israelites, this chapter was deeply personal. It defined their relationship with God. God was not just a distant power, He was their king. Obedience was an expression of love and loyalty. It showed they trusted His wisdom and goodness. Disobedience was a rejection of His loving rule. It damaged the special bond they shared. The blessings revealed God's heart for their joy. The curses showed the tragedy of walking away. The lessons from Deuteronomy 28 resonate today. It teaches us that choices have consequences. This is a timeless truth about life. While specific blessings and curses were for Israel, the principle remains. Living according to God's wisdom often leads to well-being. Ignoring divine guidance can lead to difficulties. God cares deeply about how we live our lives. He desires that we choose paths that lead to flourishing. This message of choice is for everyone. In conclusion, Deuteronomy 28 is profound. It speaks of God's unwavering justice. It also reveals His immense love and patience. He warns His people because He cares for them. He offers abundant blessings because He is generous. The core message is an invitation. Listen to God. Choose the way of life, faith, and obedience. This ancient text still holds powerful relevance. It challenges us to live faithfully before God.